Hey guys, I'm Mark,
I'm Alen.
and welcome to another episode of The Next Man Up. Hey brother,
Dude,
ready to do this again?
come on, bring it.
Come on, bring it.
Feel the aggression.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you ever get angry?
You want to know my secret? I'm always angry.
I just had a weird thought. This is a bit of a tangent, but follow me here. I've been enjoying watching. I seldom watch commercials, but I really enjoy the State Farm commercials with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah,
and his dueling agents. Right? They're competing, and there's one that's probably my favorite, at least that's airing currently, and that's where his sports agent comes out of the bathroom and says something like, hypothetically, if someone were to catch something on fire, right? And Aaron Rodgers looks at him and says, you were just in the bathroom. And the guy's like, I don't go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I've never been in a bathroom.
How does that work? I meditate, make it go away. I thought maybe for a moment that's where you were going. No, I don't get angry. I meditate and make it go away.
Like, dude, Rock, I just push it. I push it down way deep inside. That's how I deal.
Right, because that always works,
that
right?
Works out well, dude. It's so funny, but like, I mean, from the Hulk, I'm always angry to like. The State Farm thing, that would meditation make it go away, like, or I think it was like in it was in a movie Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was in. I think it was Central Intelligence, when he's like, well, how do you deal with your emotion? Well, you know what? I just take it and push it deep, way down inside, and that normally tends to work for me. It's like no matter what, like, look, emotions are real, and dude, there's one emotion, man. I just feel when it comes to dads, it's like it's always attached. Angry.
Why is that? Why do we always get so angry? Because I'm with you, man. It's like if I let it, this is my default response.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm angry.
Mm-hmm. Frustration.
That's right.
But I think it goes back to shame, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I think one of the major ones is shame. Like, I don't know. Recent years, like, I've been going through like this study where, like, I'm studying looking back at your origin on how you grew up.
Okay.
And you take a look at of like how you experience trust, how do you experience delight and honor. How have you experienced like hope, the ability to think of what can be better, like, you know what I'm saying, or imagine better, and like, dude, from young till we get to be dads, man, like, bro, all that stuff gets smashed.
Yeah.
And hit, and you end up feeling all these emotions of feeling powerless. Especially, I think that's a big one, is like feeling powerlessness, and feeling powerlessness, like, in our society as a man, like, that's shameful.
It is.
And so there's shame that comes through that. And like I think of scenarios of, why don't we like our kids failing? Well, we want them to do better. Is it that we want them to do better, or is it that, like, we want them to do better so we look like a good dad? Doesn't work out.
So like this pride issue.
Pride.
Yeah.
And so we feel shameful.
Wow.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, why do we get so mad when things don't work out? Well, sometimes just leads straight back to, I feel ashamed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's such a complex, our brains are so complex, man. Our lives are so complex. But I as I look at it, at least, I don't know, maybe I'm just talking for myself, but I know that it can tend to lead back to shame. Like, I remember making vows as a kid. I will never be poor again. And then when things go wrong financially, like, I feel like that little kid, and shame hits me like a ton of bricks, and I get angry. And I don't know how to talk about it with people. And so what happens? Like people try to talk. It's like, dude, you look angry. Like anything, like, you know, it's like a good friend of mine told me, he was like, you know, when the part of the human dilemma is that we get hit with arrows throughout life. And then someone comes and just happens to brush up against them. And the pain causes us to react. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He had another good one where it's like, you know, where the human condition is that we are like a rat trapped in a kitchen being cornered. What happens when you trap that animal in a corner? It's going to react.
Attack, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how we are. Like we're walking around with arrows. We're getting trapped in to corners, and someone just happens to brush up along, or someone just happens to be walking by, and we feel the pain. Like it could be something like they could say something like, "Oh wow, Alen, your shoes look dirty today," and triggering in me from my background, I'm going, "Oh wait. Means I'm poor. Oh, I made a vow I'll never be poor. Screw you." Like, you know what I'm saying? How dare you? And it's like, it's just a joke. But to me, it's like, it goes deep. And like, you know, I'm not thinking through this, but subconsciously I am.
Yeah, it attacks your identity.
And it attacks my identity. And I'm like, I will never be that poor little boy again. Like, or, you know, someone disrespects me, or like, or a good one is someone says like, or acts like they don't want anything to do with me and they reject me. And I go back. I will never be rejected again. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and I feel shame. You know what I mean? And that shame is like someone brushing up against my arrows of my heart, and I get angry. You know? And it's like, so there's all these, and when we don't tend to them, when we don't tend to these feelings of frustration, when we don't tend to these feelings of anger, when we don't deal with that, for me, that picture of that little boy and those vows that I made, like when I don't deal with those things, bro, I am just one angry man.
Wow.
I am one angry man. I don't even know it sometimes. I remember there's been times where my wife has looked at me and said, dude, are you all right? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, you look angry right now. Like, people notice, guys. They notice us that we're just getting angry. You know, and it could be for whatever reason. I'm just laying out my own reasons.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be for like failed dreams, or you know, we didn't end up in the right place, in the place that we thought would be the right place for us. Or we look at our look back and go, man, I could have made better choices, and now I'm here. It's like, and now it's like, it's not just us, it's us and our families, and our families catch the brunt of it. You know, they're the most closest to us. They know us, and now we could drop the fake smile. We could drop the goofy acts. We could drop the I got everything together, because they know we don't.
Right.
And they see the real us, which is we're just one angry dude, and we need to deal with the stuff that's causing us to be so angry. And when we don't deal with it, it comes out in some harmful ways, whether we think they're big or small.
Yeah. That's interesting. It makes me think of something I read recently. Unfortunately, I can't remember exactly where, and I won't get it 100% accurate. But the idea was that those, so like picture a customer service setting where you are the agent, you're receiving a phone call from somebody who is belligerent, they're angry, they're frustrated, it's coming out. And the author of this was saying, you have to understand that anger is coming from a place of powerlessness. Yeah. And that's exactly what you said, a few minutes ago. Like, I feel powerless for some reason. And as a result, I'm going to express it in a way that may seem like I'm trying to be powerful and strong, but in reality, I'm this little vulnerable kid just kicking and screaming because I feel powerless in the situation.
That's good.
And that's not in all situations. No. Like, and it's not necessarily what you were saying either, but it's just like another example of our feelings, coming through and coming out in this form of reacting in an angry way. And,
dude, I mean, even we were talking in another episode about like like we have these tendencies that seem to be built into men.
Yeah.
Like the tendency to fix, right?
Yep.
The tendency to lecture, we ran out.
Right.
But the fix one, isn't it interesting when we can't fix something, how angry we get?
Yeah.
Like just not being able, in like to the point where whoever's around us, like they can sense, they can feel, and they are recipients of that anger.
Yeah.
Like I remember our garbage disposal broke. I didn't know one thing about fixing the garbage disposal at that.
Yeah.
I thought the world was ending. And so like, I'm like, oh, I'm calling friends like, dude, like, okay, you won't believe this, but my garbage disposal, it's broken. Well, you need to try this. And I'll try. I'm like, oh, I can't fix it.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's so, oh my gosh, right? And the funny thing about that one is I went and got a new garbage disposal, couldn't put it in. So I put the old one back. And I realized that the reason why it wasn't working is because we shoved a bunch of spaghetti down.
It got stuck.
And it just got stuck.
Yeah.
You know, and like after all that anger, it was
right.
funny. But like in the moment, not being able to fix things, not being able to fix some mechanical thing, not being able to fix a problem that our kid is having at school, not being able to fix like this disconnect or this broken communication like avenue between us and our wives, not being able to fix, and you fill in the blank, like the anger that comes from that, just like if I look back and I go, I've gotten so angry because I just couldn't fix something.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah.
I felt powerless.
Yeah.
I felt like in the moment that I was powerless, and like I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
And it produced this anger inside of me, this frustration that turned into full-on anger.
Yeah, I get it, man. It's making me think of my own story. In a prior episode, I said you're the one that always opens up and tells the messy stories. So here's one from my home ownership and remodeling space a number of years ago. We were doing some remodeling and it involved replacing doors. So I was taking out interior doors, the older style, replacing them with a more contemporary style, or what we wanted. And for some reason that goes way back for me, I had this expectation that I should be able to do it right, perfect, the first time. I'm on my very first door. Now, I'd read the book and I'd watched the video, right? So I did my homework in that way. But like, who in the right mind would expect me to do it well and perfect the first time? I even picked a door that we didn't use. It was a closet door that didn't get used very often because I knew I'm going to make mistakes. And yet in the middle of it, I'm making a mistake. And this, I mean, we could go so many different directions here, but the thing that I would say out loud is, "Oh, Mark, you idiot!" You know, and so in that situation, it's doubly destructive because I'm telling myself something that isn't true. It's an instance. It's not an identity, right? It's a mistake. It's not a failure per se.
Yeah.
I'm expressing that out loud. I'm very angry. In fact, my kids, like through that whole remodeling project, my kids started to recognize, oh, Dad's doing some housework. We're going to leave. Because he gets angry when he's doing remodeling work. And the thing is, I enjoyed that work, but I felt like not so much powerless, but I felt failure-like because I couldn't do it perfect. And as a result, I lashed out, throwing tools, calling myself an idiot, kicking the dog,
It's like, Dad getting in a fight up there? Who's he fighting?
Right. Oh, no, he's just doing a house project. But it's there. Like, it's just there. And it was so instant and quick, So, like, it's... I started this with a question, do you ever? So it feels to me like we've created now this awareness, of, oh, okay, I'm not alone. You're not alone. We all struggle with this. Let's just name it. Let's just say it. I am aware that I struggle with anger. Yeah. But why?
Yeah.
And how do we pick at this to go deep into what's behind it? You've suggested that powerlessness is there. I've suggested that, at least for me, it's this unrealistic expectation of perfection. Mm-hmm. But I think the key question here that can be so powerful for us, so helpful as a tool, is to ask ourselves why.
Yeah. Yes.
But it's not just the first why, right? So take my door example. Why are you so angry, Mark? Because this door isn't working. Okay. So why are you angry that the door isn't working? Well, because it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
Well, why do you feel like it's supposed to work? Because I'm doing it, right? And then ultimately we peel all those layers back to there was some expectation that I had to do it perfectly.
Yep.
And because that expectation wasn't met, I lashed out.
Yeah.
I got angry.
Yeah.
But it's stripping away all of those layers and asking why until you really get to that root cause. And then, I'll give you a chance to respond, but that's when you can really deal with it at that point.
Yeah, no, 100%. I find the older I get to, the more, I don't know if maybe I'm just getting extra space to be able to hear myself ask the question why, or to hear myself ask why. Why? Because I remember even being younger and I was like, you're really angry right now. Okay. And just continue. Next. You know what I'm saying? Or wow, man, you're really tense, man. I don't understand. Why am I so tense? I just probably ate something. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the older I get, the more the question why pops up. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Actually, it came from digging into who really is Alen Auguste. And the more I dug into my identity and really began to unearth that, the more I began to see Alen Auguste does these things. Why is he doing these things? And the more I went down that trail, the more I realized the picture started becoming clearer and in more full view. Oh,
yeah.
This is why you do things this way. This is why you react this way. This is why. But I think you're right. Asking the question why allows us to dig and to unearth and to make clear, however you want to put it. And then it comes to the point of, okay, what do we do with what we unearth?
That's right.
What do we do with what comes through? I feel to me, it's almost like you're that old 1800 gold miner, you know what I'm saying? And you're washing out sifting dirt in your pan in the river, and you struck gold. Oh, I got it. Okay, what do you do with it now? And that's the one where I feel like it becomes another serious cross why section in the road. I think being willing to ask the question why, but then also being willing to do something. Yeah. Because we could do what we normally do. It's just, oh, yeah, I figured it out. I know why I do that. I know why I'm always angry. Okay, we're going to push it back down inside.
Right, and not deal with it.
Anything. You know what I mean? I know why it's there. Yeah. I'm good. Yeah. It's no, dude, there's more. There's more. What about if we chose to do something about it? How dramatic, of a change, of propelling you towards better in life, of being a better in fill in the blank. How about if we did something with it? That's where it got me, because then I started dreaming, and that's where that hope piece comes in. We get into these ruts where we feel even though we name something, why bother trying to change? It's just who we are, and it's an excuse. It goes back to being an excuse. But when we don't settle for an excuse and to say, this is why I do things, and I could do something about it. Yeah. When I can imagine, what about if Alen Auguste wasn't angry all the time? What would that look like? Wow, I would probably smile at my wife more. Yeah. I might see her for who she is more. Might be able to keep dogs around the house. Yeah, I can keep a dog around. My kids won't be scared of me when I'm angry. Right. My kids will be more apt to bring things my way. I'd be more thoughtful. I can be president. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
You think of the
right.
best, and it's like, oh, then let's start doing something about it then.
Yeah.
Because that sounds way better than the way I've just been living.
Yeah.
And that's what started. And I've been on this track trying to like deal with this anger issue. Like, cause I don't want to be the angry guy. I don't want to be the butthole. I don't, man.
Yeah.
I want to be a guy who like is just genuinely excited about life and loves people. You know what I mean? And to do that, I got to deal. I've had to deal with that anger. Inside.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've started with awareness, right? Where are we? You got to have a sense of where you are before you can begin to think about where you want to be, which then gets to maybe some understanding around, okay, where is this coming from? If you have the courage to keep asking why, and sit in that discomfort and get to that answer, then you get to the nugget, right? That little piece of gold. And then the question becomes, what do you do with it? That's what you're asking. I'm gonna suggest something that may make some of our listeners uncomfortable. I don't know. For a while it was a little bit uncomfortable for me until I really understood it. But I think a lot of what you're talking about, what I'm talking about, gets to emotional intelligence. Yeah. And I know those words can be a little bit off-putting for some. They can be too soft, touchy-feely for some. But if you're continually angry and you continue to do the same thing over and over and over, I guess I would ask, how's it working for you? Yeah. And if you're at a point where you're willing to try something different, let me give you some insight that I have learned recently. If anger represents the action, and in my case, this expectation of or let me say it differently. Anger represents the action. Sorry, try this one more time. It's obviously it's still percolating and working its way through me. If the outburst of calling myself an idiot was the action, the anger was the feeling, the underlying thought was, I'm not good enough. I should be perfect in this situation. When I track back from the awareness, which is Mark calling himself an idiot, the feeling, which is I'm angry, to the underlying thought, I should be perfect. Mm-hmm. Once I get to that thought, then I can begin to say, is that true?
Yeah.
Is that thought true? And if it is not, then I can replace it with a truthful thought like, Mark, you're a beginner here. Give yourself some space. Yeah. And then from there, a different feeling can come like, well, good on me for trying something new, something I hadn't done before. And of course, I'm not going to be able to get it perfect. This is actually quite comical that I got it this close, you know? And then the action becomes a little more peace, a little more comfort, a little more contentment in a project that isn't 100% great, but it's going to be good enough. Yeah, what I'm getting at is this idea of we go through a process of think, feel, and act. Yeah. And if you can catch yourself in awareness somewhere in that feel, act space, recognize you don't like it, then go all the way back to the underlying thought, that nugget, and then change the thought. Yep. Which then will change the feeling, which then will change the action. Yeah, this think, feel, act, TFA is how I've been learning it and studying it. I know it sounds a little touchy-feely for those that are unfamiliar, but trust me, there is an underlying thought, expectation, belief, some trigger that results in that feeling and then the action. And if you can arrest it and change that trigger to be something else, boy, that's a powerful tool.
And I love that, man. That is really good stuff. And it's I hope those out there who are listening that really like resonates, sinks in, because I think we all can use a lot of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, you know, in for those of you who are thinking through that, let me also add, like, dude, like that takes you like learning your story. It takes you like being willing to dig into who you really believe that you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there. So I'm here, as I'm hearing you share that story. Like, I'm an idiot. There must have been like a piece of you that really believed that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And like, even like for me, as I look back, there's like identities that I resonated with because I really believed that I was that person. You know, because of whatever circumstance or whatever was done, or for me personally. And so there has to be a willingness to be vulnerable enough to look at who you really believe that you are, but then being willing to unearth who you really, really are. Because, like, I mean, you've come to the grips that you're not an idiot.
Right.
Right? And I'm come to grips that I'm not this, like, poor boy that lives, like, in a corner of some, like, orphanage. Like, that wasn't who I am. I'm more than that.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm on a goose day, man.
Yeah.
You know? I love, like, Gandalf in Lord of the Rings when he had to talk with Frodo about identity, and he's like, Gandalf is me. Like, that's who I am.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I when I say Alana Goose, there's so much that goes in that, but I know who I am, right? And being able to change that has been really good. But not only that, but being able to repair and restore that which has been marred and destroyed, like, in life. Now, I'm not just talking about inner either, because there's parts of me that I've had to, like, allow some repair and some restoration, like, to happen with my heart, my mind, the way I see people, things that happened in the past that I had to just allow some like some serious mechanic work to be done. But I'm talking about outside as well, because as these changes go on inside, you begin to change your, like, scientists have studied, like, we can change our pathways of our brain.
That's right.
And so if they can be changed, that means that, like, there's probably something that says like there have been grooves that have been, like, you know, dug into our brain of that, which allows us to continually think the way that we think, but we can change them, right?
That's right.
And so changing them looks something simple as, I used to scream and yell at my kids when they did wrong. But now that I've been changing on the inside and I've been changing the way that I think about myself, maybe I can change the way I react to them. Mm-hmm. And it becomes a story like of, hey, I've done this for years and I don't want to do this to you anymore. I'm sorry for the way I just talked to you. Mm-hmm. That wasn't cool. Mm-hmm. Can we try again? Mm-hmm. There is so much power in that. And there's so much, like, good and healing and restoration that happens in that. And all of a sudden our kid starts thinking different. Maybe this is the new dad.
Yeah.
And if this is the new dad, I can approach this new dad in a totally different way.
Yep.
I don't have to shut him out anymore.
Yep.
And all of a sudden a relationship gets rebuilt. A relationship gets restored. And it comes as simple as that.
Yeah.
Really. It doesn't have to be rocket science. And that's why I'm like, you know, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, this old dog is learning new tricks. It's like there can be change.
Yep.
And the change comes not by, like, you know, some cosmic craziness happening in the sky. It comes simple as of changing how I look at myself will also affect how I react to others. And in changing my reaction to others, relationships get restored and rebuilt, and the world becomes a better place.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so here's how I would say that, just echoing your sentiment. It's a choice to act instead of an involuntary reaction, right?
Yeah,
so much of our pain, frustration, anger, it comes out of a reaction, you know, to what we do, what we say is a reaction to how we feel. But what if we choose how we want to show up, what we want to say, how we want to be, how we want to act? And I think what you're saying is that's within our power to do. So if you're willing to trace this all the way back and to do that work.
And to circle back around to what I started with, like what it really means is we're not powerless.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
We're not powerless.
That's right.
We actually do have some power and stake in the game. And when you know you got some power, you could do some things.
Good things happen.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You could do some things, man.
That's right.
Anyway.
That was good.
Thanks, man. Thank you. That was really good, man.
Yeah.
It's got the juices flowing, bro.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's
An important piece, right?
it's an important piece, and I'll tell you this. We'll finish with this, I guess. This is not acts of weakness, acts of surrender, acts of powerlessness. This stuff, it's true courage.
Yeah.
And it's true strength, and it's true power in a way that's beneficial and helpful, both for self and for others that you relate with and to. This is courageous moments. We talk about being a courageous parent, a courageous dad, being in the mix. This is it.
This is parenting like a boss.
It is. That's right.
As my friends
It's
say.
taking care of our stuff
Yeah.
in a healthy and a beneficial and a holistic way, so that we can show up and play the roles that we play: father, dad, husband, employee, whatever. We can play those roles in a complete way, in a good way, because they flow out of being confident in who we are.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? That picture right there is totally the picture I think that we want as men, but we go the other way.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We go with this different picture. Yep. That picture right there, man, that's, to me, in not trying to be corny, but like, that's the man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a man that I'm like, I could follow that man.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. So, Mark, people want to hit us up
Yes.
and give us some feedback, because we do want your feedback, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can feedback us. Is that a thing? You can feedback us at feedback@thenextmanup.com.
That's cool.
Questions, comments, suggestions. We would love to hear from you. Or if you're so inclined, head out to iTunes and find our page, The Next Man Up Podcast, and give us a rating, maybe even a review. Help others to know that there's some good content here, not because it's me and Alen, but because there's truth and there's wisdom in what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
But if you're so inclined, give us a rating, leave us a review. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, thank you for another conversation. The world out there, thank you for listening. Let's keep this conversation going.
Always, my friend. Adios. Hey, listeners, thanks for journeying with us on this Next Man Up podcast. You know, we would love to hear from you. Maybe you have a question or an idea, perhaps a topic for us to consider. If that's you and you want to reach out to us, you can get us at feedback@thenextmanup.com. That's feedback@thenextmanup.com. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you later.